The following was recorded in front of a live studio audience at the Studio 21 Podcast Café. This is the United Podcast Network.
If you're building or buying or selling a home, the real estate crew's got news for you at the Real Estate House Party.
With attorney Rick Carter,
Real Estate House Party.
paralegal Kathy Holtshouser,
Real Estate House Party. Come in, have fun.
and comedian Tony V. Now, here's real estate attorney Rick Carter.
Welcome and thanks for joining us here on the Real Estate House Party. How was
You hit
that?
it.
I hit
That's
it. Did I nail it?
perfect. It's perfect.
Nail it?
Right on the button.
After 5 years.
You hit the post, as we
Yeah.
say.
That's
No, he's
like...
supposed to go through the post.
No.
that's
That's disc jockey talk.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
When,
okay.
you,
All right.
when you're talking up a song and it ends and you hit it.
Hit it.
Yeah, you hit
Okay.
the post.
So speaking
All right.
of horse races, I hate to digress already.
Yeah, no.
My son-in-law hit on the Belmont. It
How
was-
much?
Well,
On the-
he only bet like $20. It was a long shot.
16-1.
Yeah, but
Wow.
he got it because that was his mother's nickname when they were mad at her. But I digress.
What was it, Madge?
Yeah.
Oh,
exactly.
that's great.
Yeah.
What a great way to pick a horse, too.
Yeah, exactly,
sure.
exactly.
Of
So in
course.
honor of the mother. So we got a lot to talk about today. Ooh, boy.
Yeah. Do we ever?
Oh, God, yes. So
I'm already tired today, so please.
I'm exhausted already. Oh, God.
Kathy has a new dog. It's so cute. It runs for about an hour, and then it passes out. It's like...
That's what you want
then
out
it's-
of 'em.
Then it's done for about 5 hours,
Right.
right?
Dogs and children. That's
Exactly.
what you want out of
Yes,
them.
yes.
Exactly.
Nap time is very important.
Yeah.
So I'm going to start with a quote. This is Chris Voss. You ever hear of Chris Voss?
No.
He was a terrorist negotiator.
Oh.
I
Oh.
love his books. He wrote a book called Never Split the Difference. You got to read it. It's very cool.
I always want to split the difference.
Yeah, but this guy says never split the difference.
Right.
His theory is, if you're arguing about something, does one of you do a brown shoe and you black shoe, and the logic seems a little bit off.
I've
but-
worn a brown shoe and a black shoe, and it's really not all that bad.
They feel the same,
At the
right?
same time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They feel
Did anyone
the same.
notice it?
I don't know. We had to go in the back door. It was
Oh, yeah.
it was a funeral. We had to go in the back door and go up the back and
Okay.
around the side.
If anyone's
so-
looking at your feet at
I
a
know.
funeral,
They might have to
Right.
let that go.
yeah, you could let that go.
Right.
You're grief stricken.
I
Right,
know.
right.
What,
Didn't
what
know
do
what
you
you were
care
doing.
about shoes?
I know.
Right. So Chris Voss, he wrote Never Split the Difference. It's actually a great book. We're not even going to talk about that, but he comes right out and says, he's just cool. Some terrorist is asking for like $1 million. He gets them down to about 2 6-packs, the way he does it. It's just really good. But he ends up writing a book with Steve Shull called The Full Fee Agent. So I wanted to start off with a quote from Chris
Well,
Voss.
let's hold the book.
No, because that drives Chrissy nuts there. Because then we
Well, we
but
always
that's all right.
drive
No,
Chrissy nuts.
I'm just saying,
The
they could
full
look at-
fee agent
Whoa,
by
whoa,
Chris
don't
Voss.
change how you do things now, Rick.
No.
Let's
Here,
stick with
get
the
this close
format.
up. Get
all
this close
all
up.
of a sudden, he's got decorum.
You can hold it up for the people. Though.
No, they'll get it. I just want to do one quote out of
I
it.
can hold it up.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, I do
Tony
the
can,
quote.
but I can't.
I don't guess not. Here's the quote. The real estate agents are the greatest bargains on planet Earth.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. I see it
Absolutely.
more and more now.
Look, it's
I
3D.
had a... Oh, wow.
That's awesome, Tony.
That's-
You just
No, Chrissy
Yeah.
nailed that
She's
one.
good.
Nice
Yeah.
job.
Attorney's
good.
help. Just needed a professional.
She's good. That's all. That's all.
no, that couldn't be any.
And it's
I
absolutely
love
true.
the.
What's the quote again?
Real estate agents are the greatest bargain on planet Earth.
I don't disagree.
Other than the living legend at Two Guys Cigar Shop,
Yeah.
he's quite a bargain. But
Jonathan, Mr. Jonathan.
Mr. Jonathan.
He's the best.
Yeah.
he's the best.
Yeah.
But
He sold a buddy of mine a $39 cigar
for how much?
for $39.
Thought you were going to say
They
for
didn't split the
$102.
difference.
No.
splitting the
There was
difference.
no splitting the difference. Full
$39.
price. That's a lot of cigars.
That's a lot of
The
cigars.
good thing about Mr.
No, it's
Jonathan,
one cigar.
Did you have any of it?
I haven't. No, that's
That's for what?
when I find out I'm dying tomorrow, that's the one I'll smoke.
Yeah.
So if you were incarcerated on death row and they said you have one final meal,
Yeah.
what would it be?
One.
I know what it would be.
What pie?
Key lime pie.
Key lime
Key lime
pie.
pie and a cigar?
Yeah.
And call it a
Yeah,
day?
that's all.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
All right.
You don't want to go out full.
No.
No.
You know what I mean?
No.
Because we don't have to get into it. When
Right.
you die, it's not as clean as they make it on TV. Yeah,
You could go full. It depends, I suppose, how long before you eat before they,
I guess. Yeah.
it's,
Sounds like you guys have thought about this.
All right.
All the
let's not
time.
talk about
All the time.
Yeah.
We just started on a high note. Now we're talking about dying.
All right, so my thought, I've seen these brokers, you can't sell this stuff on your own, all right?
This seems to be the recurring theme. And is it because of the market we're in that
No.
people are trying to do this more?
No, you're right. That's a good point. Everyone, and I get this quote all the time, the market is so hot, I can just probably sell this thing on my own.
Except they forget.
Is the opposite.
Right.
The market's so hot, you get what's called the auction effect. I
Right.
love that. It's like
Right.
controlled frenzy.
But the thing is,
Right.
if you're a buyer and you see that the seller isn't represented by a real estate agent,
You
you're
automatically.
like, oh, if the commission's going to be $45,000,
I'll offer them that less.
I'm going to do it less.
Right.
so the seller doesn't reap any of the benefits of that.
Absolutely not, and they have to.
And then they end up losing their representation.
Right.
Right.
So what?
So it's so stupid.
Everyone says that. You're
What
right.
is that saying?
Penny wise, pound
pound
foolish.
Right,
Yeah.
but that's a good point because they're not really. The broker isn't really saving that money. The buyer is.
Right.
The buyer says, "All right, there's the
No,
typical."
the seller isn't saving that
No, you
money.
can
Right.
right. You go into a buyer and you say, "Look, I know you're doing this on your own. You don't have a commission, so my price is going to be less the commission."
Without a doubt.
Right.
But then what happens is the seller just lost $45,000. But if he had a listing agent, the agent would have got the $45,000.
Right.
But he would have had complete
right.
representation.
So I think we're saying the same thing.
Yeah.
So there's no
Yeah.
sense going to the buyer and say, "I'm going to reduce this by X amount of dollars," selling it to you, because then you have no broker representing you,
Right.
and you don't save any money, right? Plus,
Right, so it's a lose-lose for
Plus,
the seller.
all the time and energy you have to put into the paperwork
Exactly.
and the stuff that would
And the running
for the people
around
who would
and-
do the due diligence for you.
Right.
very good.
Yes.
Yes. No, you're
I
right.
pay
Wow.
attention.
Wow,
It doesn't look
Tony.
like I'm paying attention, but I pay attention.
It's been hammered into his
No,
brain.
you're right though.
Yeah.
The seller on their own is not going to know which forms to give.
No.
A lot of brokers have the problems with like the lead paint forms. When do you give the lead paint form? Do you give it at purchase and sale stage?
Right.
Do you give it at offer stage? I think you got to give it
At offer
right
stage.
at offer stage.
Right.
Yeah.
A lot of people always think, as long as we get it by
Right.
purchase and sale stage, we're fine. I see some people pulling it out at closing. Said, "Oh, we forgot we did this." So I said, "Ooh, that's a little bit tricky."
Yeah.
So you got to have. I think you got to get that right out at offer stage. But you're right. They don't have the forms. They don't know the disclosures.
So
No,
if you
they
wanna,
don't know
if
the
you want to
timing.
wire your own house, right?
yeah.
If you need electric work
Yeah.
done,
Yeah.
do you guys like say I'm going to do
No,
and
you're
I know
right.
you won't
Yeah.
anymore.
No.
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 But
couple zaps, that'll teach
That'll
you.
teach you,
yeah,
sure.
he had the lines crossed and he got
A couple of times.
Yeah, and he
Yeah.
got reprimanded by
A real
the
electrician?
No, a real electrician.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was the
Says
guy.
keep your hands off. You're,
No.
you're a funny guy. You stick to comedy.
One of the best quotes I have ever heard in my life. There's a guy with his head in my ceiling wiring a bathroom light, and he goes, electricity. I go, yeah. He goes, not a hobby. Point
So
taken.
exactly,
Right,
selling
right.
a home,
Yeah.
it's not a hobby.
Yeah.
I think of it as going, if you have a sore tooth, do you just pull your own sore tooth?
Well, that's the thing. It's like
no, you got to go to the professionals.
Right. I would go to a professional electrician to help me wire.
Of
Yeah.
course.
This.
Get
So
rid
why
of your
would
knob
you-
and tubing.
Wow, you do that.
Wow. Are you trying to impress us
You're
today,
really
Tony?
impressing us today.
I want you to know that just because I had a milestone birthday,
Yes.
I'm still somewhat with it.
No, you actually seem more with it
You're
now.
more with it. You're
get,
like a fine wine.
Yeah, I'm
you know
getting
that.
better.
Yeah.
You're
Yes.
getting better and better,
Yes.
isn't he? You say it all the time.
Yeah.
I love that Tony V.
I
don't
love
you?
that Tony
He's a good
V.
man.
He's so
You were so
relaxed.
cute at
He's
your
so
bowling
cute.
party.
Oh, I was in my element.
You were,
Yeah, you
were
had all your
so
friends.
cute. You looked like a little boy. Like you were like standing there bowling with
Say
cute
with all your
little-
friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm,
No, that was
I'm just a giant 8-year-old.
Yeah,
I really am.
I actually think that's true.
yeah,
That is true.
Yeah.
That is
and
true.
I want nothing else.
Yeah.
I want
Right.
nothing else.
Yeah, no, you're right there. So
No, you were definitely in your element, and your shout out to your neighbor. The what's the name of his catering company?
Oh, this is my buddy Raul.
Yeah.
I don't know the name of his company.
All right,
Just call Raul.
So yeah,
Yeah.
call
me and I'll get you in
Raul in Charlestown.
Yeah.
He
yeah.
lives
did a great job.
near
He lives
Tony.
directly across the street from
and
me.
he did
Oh,
did a
that's
great
nice.
job.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
convenient.
yeah. It's very
Oh,
good.
boy.
Yeah.
Great
Walk-
family.
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
Walk
Great
across
family.
the street for
So,
that. Nice.
I
nice.
suppose I'll try to find out the name of the company.
Okay.
All right, we'll shout it out for him.
We'll shout out next week there. So,
Yeah.
all right, back to the brokers
Let's
and,
go.
and the auction effect.
Yeah.
Let's talk
Yeah.
about the auction effect. I love that. It's controlled frenzy. They get 50 to 100 buyers in the same room. It's kind of like your gladiator idea. Throw them all in the same room.
Oh, don't get him started with that.
Tell them they have to put in their offers by
Right.
2:00 on Tuesday, and there's a
Right.
frenzy.
Right.
Right.
Gladiator or what?
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Well, it was mud. He wanted to do mud wrestling.
I want to do wrestling.
mud
Yeah.
wrestling.
You wanna go
Or
with that?
cage match.
Yeah. Okay.
There's a cage in the middle of the floor.
So just put all the buyers in.
All the buyers
And
in.
whoever's left
Right,
standing without
right.
bleeding
here's,
out.
Here's what we'll take.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then you wrestle
Just
over.
battle.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
And
No winner
whoever comes out,
Yeah.
So
two
they-
men enter, one man leaves.
Well, there's
Also,
gonna be
you have like
100.
semifinals.
Yeah,
You do like
yeah.
quarters,
Sure,
quarterlies, and
sure.
semifinals, and then
Sure.
put the two with
It's
the
like-
best offers
yeah,
in there
sure,
at the
it's
same
like-
time
it's like
and
Mad
see who comes
Max.
out.
Yeah.
Don't stop
So-
rolling your eyes. I think it's an
I
excellent idea.
didn't. I didn't roll my eyes.
It's kinda-
I've just heard it a million times.
It's kind of like what they actually do. You throw them all in the same room. You got that auction. I mean, if you're a buyer,
You're pressurized.
yeah,
You're pressurized.
Yeah.
If you
You
see
have to-
100 other people there, you're gonna say, "I got to put in my best offer."
Right.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna.
Right.
I'm not gonna shortchange the seller.
Now, here's
Right.
a question: when a broker or agent puts out the last best offer,
Yeah.
is that is that a final thing for
No,
sure?
they're just kidding
They just
around.
say that.
Well, it's
Well,
getting
so-
close at that point.
It's getting close.
Yeah,
getting
they
close.
have enough
several
great offers.
offers, right.
So what
they're-
happens
What they're
is
trying to do
so you
is
can
get
weed it
another
out.
offer that's higher
I
than.
see.
Look at
right?
Chrissy's trying to write all down, all three of us talking at once. This is all. But I think what they're trying to do is
She's the one rolling her
I'm
eyes,
playing
not me.
solitaire, really.
Right. So I think what they're trying to do is, you got some really good offers, but one might be missing one contingency, and the other one.
And they might bounce off each other. Say, listen, I have a full price offer. You know what I mean?
Right,
So then
right.
it kind of says to the next other buyers like,
Right.
if I give $10,000 more,
right.
I might win.
Yeah,
Or
it is an auction.
Right.
It's an auction effect, is what
which
you're
I don't
calling
see.
it.
I guess that's to our point. I don't see a seller being able to do that.
absolutely
They
not.
kind of throw it out informally. I'm
Right.
selling my house if you know of anyone.
Right.
There's no urgency to that one.
No.
They might throw it on Facebook.
Plus the
Yeah.
other thing that I'm sure we've talked about, but you got to remember is the seller has an emotional attachment,
Yeah.
mostly to that
No,
property.
no, you're right.
Most sellers have an emotional
yeah.
attachment.
Yeah.
And this needs to be. We've talked about it before. This needs to be an objective. he
Logical.
might-
Unemotional.
Logical,
Yeah.
unemotional.
Unemotional.
The
Right.
seller
You have
may
to be
think his house
detached.
is
It's-
worth way more than it's
Yeah.
actually
So
worth.
let's talk about that. So a seller can't sell a property just because they think it's worth more.
Right. You
Because
have to
their
do a,
kids grew up there.
Right, and
Right.
it might be worth more to them.
Right.
And the real estate agents are, this is what they do for work. This is what they do for a
Right,
living. And
right.
they know how to come up with a perfect
Right.
price. And they know that if you go in a little bit higher, you
Right.
might lose some people.
Yeah.
And if you go too low, you're getting
Right,
ripped
and-
off. So
and-
they know the exact pricing.
And we've
mostly.
talked about this in the past where, the price point that you listed at, you might want to come down 50,000 or
Except you want a professional real estate agent to price
make,
it
to make that
almost
determination.
perfectly. Because
Right.
if you have a price drop,
Right.
what is that? That interprets
what does that say?
to the
Well, I
buyer.
think what
Right.
Tony's saying is start off with the lower amount.
A lower amount.
Yeah, you're right. That's a kiss of death. If you go too high, all of a sudden
Right.
you
You're
drop.
dropping
That's
it.
why you
So
need. That's why you need a
This
real
is
estate.
why you
Right.
need
So
a
I'll
broker.
give you a perfect example. You think your house is worth $650, right?
Right.
And that's kind of in your head.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's not on any other bearing except what
Who you think.
Yeah.
You've
Okay,
not
but
done
you're
any
not-
comps.
You're not
Right.
a professional.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
what you've seen other houses sell in the neighborhood, but you've never been inside them and
Yeah.
whatever.
Right, right.
So you want it at $650, right? Your professional real estate agent says, you know what?
$5.99 might make more sense.
Well, no, they say, the roof is a little bit older.
Yeah.
If you don't want them to do a home inspection and you're not going to play ball with them,
Right.
why don't you drop it to $25,000 to $625? And a lot of people are going to overlook an older roof.
Right.
And so,
if
but
they get a good price.
if they get the $625
Right.
as opposed to $650.
Right.
So my point is, if only a real estate agent is going to be able to put that price tag on your home
Right.
and have it be accurate.
Right. So if you start at 6 1/4, and then people are going to go, well, I'll give you 630, and you go, well, I got 630, so someone's going to go, I'll give you 635. So now you're in the ballpark.
Exactly.
Right.
But the thing is, if you list the house at $650 and you have no one at your open house,
right?
That is scary stuff.
Of
right?
course.
Yeah, you can't,
and then you
can't overprice.
then you drop the price, and it looks like there's something
The
wrong with the
interpretation
house.
is like, what is wrong with that house?
Right. That's why you got to be, when you do finally market it, you got to be aggressive, full throttle, and you got to be smart about it. I've heard of situations where one of my family members got a really good deal on her house because the broker had the open house on a Sunday, but then changed her mind, put it on Saturday. No one's showing up on the Saturday. Everyone showed up on the Sunday. She's not even there. You lose that whole market. And then when this client / family member went to the house, it was just it was still completely personalized. The house, religious
Oh my goodness.
items everywhere.
Right.
It
just did not show.
Didn't show well. So
Sure, now
so
you've lost the atheists,
Right.
and they got a lot of money
Yeah.
because they're not contributing to a
They're not
church.
tithing.
Yes. Yeah. Everybody knows that. That's common knowledge.
And what do we care when we die where we go?
That's right.
So you're right. So they lost all the atheists out
Sure.
of that,
And the agnostics.
and the agnostics.
Yeah.
Yep.
And maybe a different, any
different
other kind
religion.
of,
Yeah.
No, you're right. If it was different,
the Buddhists,
Right.
and
Buddhists
the
are gone.
Mormon,
Buddhists are
and
gone.
She was not bidding against
There's
any
80%
Buddhist.
of your market right
Right.
there.
Right.
So she's down to she's lost 95% of her
But
market.
the other thing is we've had real estate agents on that teach us your pictures. Someone already knows they want to buy that house
before they even go there.
before they go to the house. Within probably, I don't know what the stat is. It's
Within
in
a few
between
minutes.
30 seconds and 1 minute.
Yeah.
Like I can look at a house and go, bang, 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 gorgeous house.
Right.
Let's put it on. Let's go see
So
it.
you think
Put it on.
professional photography is important?
Of course it is.
Without a doubt. Do you
right.
see what I'm doing? I'm just leading you guys down the path.
Wow, I fell right into that. I
Yeah,
almost knew what you were saying.
If you walked into my house, you'd see nothing but like a museum of me.
That's awesome.
There's just pictures of me everywhere. I got a picture of me at Fenway Park on the wall. I got a picture of me as Neptune. I got my SAG award on the wall. My wife goes, it's like a
It's like
not one
it's
picture of my wife anywhere.
It's like you're
in
the one
house.
who lives here.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Do you have any
Yeah,
kids
this guy
at all?
must be a maniac.
Well, I
Yeah,
tell you
there's
what.
a couple pictures of my kids.
Yeah.
But
okay.
I'm with them.
And they're off in the distance,
Yeah,
right?
But
Yeah.
a real
Out of
estate agent
focus.
would have told you to take those down.
Yes, 100%.
They absolutely-
and would right. Sure.
We somewhat we're involved with a professional basketball player who was selling his house, and took a little bit longer. And I asked the broker when they finally got to the closing table, what happened? Evidently, he left all his stuff out, and everyone was only envisioning themselves in this gentleman's house.
And it didn't sit well with
Sure,
them.
no,
Yeah,
not
it
worthy.
wasn't- it
I'm
wasn't
not
like that.
worthy to live in this
Right,
house.
right. That's
I'm
what they're
not
going to do when they go to Tony V's house.
Right,
They
yeah.
can say, oh, my God, Tony V lives here?
Oh
But
my
the
God,
other
we can
thing-
never live
I
up to
can
The
never
that.
other
ever
thing
live
about,
up to this.
come on, guys, we're supposed to go. Lindsay is not going to be happy with us.
Lindsay's going to be very happy with us.
So the other thing is, there was a real estate agent that said when you drive by that property, because you might see it online and then you might go check out the
Right.
neighborhood or whatever. There's like another split second of curb appeal,
Sure,
So you got to keep that house in good shape the whole time you're selling.
of course. That's
without a doubt.
Right.
why my hydrangeas are always watered.
Yes.
And that is not a euphemism for anything.
How does your stoop look?
My stoop looks fine.
Right.
My newest addition, I don't know if you've seen it, is I
Yes,
have a
Billy
Joel
Joel.
bobblehead.
I
and-
sent it right to her.
Yeah, and a garden gnome giving him the finger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it sums
yeah.
it up everything.
I was
she-
thinking that.
So she says to me, oh, so that just shows some people don't know their music. I said, well, that's all right. You'll get to know it.
I was just surprised Barry Manilow wasn't there.
I know.
I don't mind Barry Manilow.
Right, so that's what I was thinking.
It's just some. All right, we won't.
We're
get
not
into
getting into it.
We won't
No,
get
no,
into
no.
it.
So curb appeal, very,
Yes,
very important.
yes.
If you
Yeah.
need to paint shutters in the front of the house,
Yeah.
or get a landscaper in there.
Your point is
Sure.
a broker would probably be coaching you a little bit on this.
But again, the seller has those rose-colored glasses.
well, they've lived there
on.
forever.
They don't see
it, right.
an objective.
Do you know we actually have a psychological some mechanism in us that allows us to ignore our own smells in our house? Have you ever heard that?
No.
I wish my brother-in-law John Sabatelli was here. He fact checks me on everything.
Yeah, that
But
doesn't
I'm gonna have him fact check that
Yeah.
one.
What kind of smells in the house?
Well, like dog smells. So when you go home, cigars, you know. So and something in
Curry.
our and something in our house, in our brains, are able to ignore what smells in our normal house.
Oh, that's funny because like I can walk by my kitchen
Yeah.
and I'm like, I think I have to take the trash out.
Yeah,
right,
yeah. My wife's like that. She,
Well, you
Something
can't have
smells-
stenches in the whole place out of the norm. Do you normally have that smell in your house?
No.
No.
All right,
of
then. So
course
that's
it's
the point.
trash
If
day.
that's a little different, you might.
Oh, so I see what you're saying. So if you have
like the
dogs,
cigars,
Right.
might you know? Tony
I don't smoke in the house, by the way.
Right, well, you
but
smoke on the
stoop, right? But my ashtray is always empty.
Yep. What do you do with it?
I recycle. I use it as
You make sure it
fertilizer.
goes out?
Yeah.
Trying those cigars we gave you?
Yes, I did. And
Are
they're
they
very
good?
lovely.
They are good, huh?
Yeah, I got the rest of them sitting in my humidor, and in about a month they're going to be perfect.
So I'm going to tell George Ravanis
Please
they're
tell
a big
them
hit
they did a
from
nice
Frank's
job.
Steakhouse.
Nice job.
Nice job, George. All right. So do you agree or disagree with that?
I can see what you're saying.
All right.
Like
Do
a
you
cat,
agree-
like a
should
cat.
I'll
smell?
get John Sabatelli to do
Like some people think that
fact checker.
their cat litter box is the
Doesn't
best,
smell, right.
best invention
sure.
ever, but
It's almost like
it's
when
like,
they don't.
you paid how much for that? Because I can smell it.
Right,
Right.
And you always think your pets won't bite and stuff like yeah. You know,
Right.
they just overlook everything. I guess. my
Right,
point.
right, right.
I'll tell you my parrot
The only
story
thing you
sometime,
can't,
but
the only
I
thing
don't
you
know.
can't ever overlook is corned beef and cabbage. That smells. Just gets on you.
Well, corned beef is fine. It's
Just
when you
gets
throw
it.
the
But
cabbage.
if you had that every day, you might start to put up with it. But you'll probably
Well, you would get used to it.
right, exactly. That's
I
I
grew,
don't-
I grew up in
can't
a
ever imagine that.
Catholic household in the 70s and 80s,
Yeah.
and every Friday my mother would make fish.
Fish, yeah.
But every Friday night I was going out to a dance or
Drinking.
whatnot.
What have you?
you could
but-
say it. The statute of limitations is long.
Not in the 8th and 9th grade.
Oh yeah. I'm
no,
oh.
but there'd be a CYO dance or
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I always smelled
like fish.
like fish.
Sure.
Yeah. Did people notice it?
I did. I could smell it.
Yeah.
I said, Mom, can you stop cooking fish on Friday?
You know, with me and cigars, people always go, aren't you afraid you smell like cigars? I go, no, I want to. And they go, well, people will notice that. I go, yeah, I don't want to talk to anybody. It keeps people away. It keeps people at least 6 feet away from me at all times.
You know what
I want to smell like a
Right.
cigar.
You know what I love is when people are smoking cigars in the car, but they roll down their windows.
A little bit, yeah. They think hanging out.
Like you have a problem with the
Yeah.
smell?
Right,
Or,
right.
You're smoking that cigar.
Yeah,
so.
right, yeah.
I know.
No, it's for others. I won't smoke in my car or in the house.
Right.
I've done that for my family.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Because you know what? I'm thinking that your wife is going to kick your ass.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Listen, and if anyone doesn't think I'm afraid of my wife, you are completely wrong.
Yeah. Well, that's the first time I've met her.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah, there's no.
You did no smoking in our big van when you're driving around with that too. That was
No,
very nice.
I would not.
Because that
No,
still
that's
like
somebody
smells
else.
brand new.
Yeah.
Whatever happened to that idea? We're gonna have you drive around different clients. You could do your show while you're driving.
I would do that in a heart.
That'd
You still
be
have
awesome.
the
What do you
van?
think about that one?
Yeah.
Am I the only one who's ever used that?
Let's see.
No, there's a couple people that
we've
call.
had.
Mike Clark has borrowed it.
Yeah, Mike Clark.
Oh, okay.
Mike Clark's another one with the picture. You ever go to his house? Every picture in the room and the whole house is Mike with someone. Yeah. So, all right. So, I guess to your point, all of our points, brokers would probably be able to understand what should be in a house, not in a house, when you're about to present something to a potential buyer.
Right.
Personal items, decluttering.
Yep.
Is a big thing.
Huge.
Huge
They're
thing.
kind of like therapists.
Yes.
They're therapists until your house goes on the market.
Right.
They're going to say, you know what, Kath, I know you love this carpet, but it's a little stained, or we're going to roll this up and put it in the garage.
Right.
Or
Because they
Somewhere
know
they saw it.
They know the buyer is using the emotional side of their
And
brain as
you know,
opposed to intellectual.
And they have. Here's the point. They have done this hundreds of times.
Right.
It's not new to them.
Exactly.
And it's brand new to you.
Exactly.
And what you think will sell a house is not necessarily will sell a house.
Without a doubt. And the other thing that I think that they bring to the table, which is very important, is their network of
vendors,
real estate agents, their friends.
Yeah.
Right. It's a community.
And they will say, oh, guess what? I just got a listing on whatever street.
Right.
And if they're really good friends, they could be working at a different company.
Right.
You say, oh, I told you I had a buyer looking on that street.
Right.
If these guys get along,
Right.
the closing goes so smoothly, right?
It's like we had one agent. He called me the other day. He knows I always like to look in the Rockport, Gloucester area. He says, I have an off-market house for you if you're interested. I said, yeah, that'd be pretty good. I didn't know he told 1,000 other. That's
You
really
thought
not off-market.
Right, right.
You thought you could be the only one there?
They were lined up to watch this.
So the point is, if you're doing a for sale by owner, what are you relying on? Facebook,
word of mouth.
word of mouth, and maybe a sign out front.
Yeah.
That's it.
Right.
Right.
And you might get more numbers of people, but they won't be quality people.
No.
They're
A lot of
tire kickers. And,
Yeah.
Sure.
That's
but
a good point, too. Vetting a buyer
Yeah,
is
of
very
course.
important, too.
without a doubt, can
'Cause
they
you don't-
afford it? Can they
Yeah.
afford
Whereas
it?
like real estate agents will ask for a pre-approval letter, or a lot of people buying cash these days. Well, if you're buying cash, you should be able to show us
a bank account.
a bank account with that money in there.
Right.
Money in it, right?
But a seller is not going to ask those questions
No.
without a
No.
real estate agent.
Sure, because anyone could go walk into a house and go, I will give you $1 million for this house. As soon as I get $1 million.
Well, the other thing, too, is you could be misrepresenting stuff all over the place because you don't know what you should be saying and not saying.
Right.
Right.
know.
I mean, these guys are trained. They're
Leaded.
educated and trained in what they do.
We had this. Luckily, that wasn't one of our deals, but we heard this seller told the buyer because the buyer wanted to put a hairdresser into the house and
A salon.
thank you.
Yeah.
I was trying- and said, can we put a salon in here? And they
Sure.
said, yeah, no problem. You're zoned for business. It's a business B zoned property. And she bought it, and
It was not.
she made the whole thing business. There was no business.
Of course not.
She made up the whole.
How can she do that?
There was no such thing as a business B. But
my God.
Yeah.
All right.
At least give it an effort, So
Yeah, but if you don't. But
That sounds pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
But if you say anything with confidence, people will believe it. Oh, yeah, 100%. Can you drive
yeah.
a bus? Absolutely.
You want to see my license? It's right here. Oh, no,
well,
no,
the
we're
bus
good.
is a different story. No one would ever say something like
No,
that.
that's
Can you drive a motorcycle?
Sure.
Yeah.
Can you drive a
Yeah.
motorcycle? Can you buy a bus?
100%,
Can you drive?
yes.
Can you? I was going to say drive a boat, but that shows where. Yeah, my brother always said.
You can get a boat license from a
from-
place in Ohio that you
Right.
give $200 to, and
When we were growing up, they always say, "Where'd you get your license from?" Sears and Roebuck.
Right.
So,
What you winning in Cracker Jacks?
so my brother always used to say, Steve Carter was very knowledgeable, ahead of his time. Say, you always got to have an answer to any question they're about to have. So,
Right.
he used to do some roofing. So, if the gutters ever came in short, they said, why is it coming in short? Well, it's because of this, this, and this. If they
Right.
came in too long,
There you go. I had too much gutter. I had too much gutter, not enough house. That's pretty obvious.
that's not on me.
How's that my
too
problem?
much gutter and not enough house.
How's that on me? Why is that my problem all of a sudden?
I can't with you, Tony.
I did not measure the gutters right. You measured your house wrong.
Wrong, right?
Not enough house. I see why. Where
Listen,
the problem
I
is.
got plenty of gutter. Problem seems to be
Your house.
not enough house. I don't know how else to put it. How more simply can I put
my
it?
God.
We can argue about it all day. Let's stop blaming people and rectify the situation.
I always like that. Let's not point
Point
fingers.
fingers. It's always the people who are
Right,
having
exactly. Has the bad argument.
Right.
Who comes back with
All
that
right,
argument? Let's not
play the blame
Let's
game.
not assess blame anywhere.
Right.
The blame pie game.
Right,
When
right.
you clearly know you're wrong.
Right, of course.
All right.
Let's just get
It's
through. Let's
neither
get
here
over this.
nor there.
Yeah,
Let's
yeah.
get to the crux of the problem and fix it.
Okay, let's get over this stumbling
I don't
block.
mean to be disrespectful, but
Oh,
yeah.
and someone says that.
Oh,
I don't mean to be rude, but
Oh, that you know
Just
something
ignore
rude's
everything
coming.
before the but.
Right.
Because it's always the opposite.
you
as it
do
goes.
mean to be rude.
I don't mean to be obnoxious
Yeah,
to
you
you,
just don't
but
want me to think you're being rude.
I don't mean to keep asking you questions.
but-
Yes, you do.
Well,
My favorite is, can I ask you a question? You just did.
I
that's
say
it.
that all the time.
You just did. That,
I, go,
you got
I
to
always
the
say
point.
that. Can I
Yeah.
ask a question?
so you'll appreciate this one. I was dealing with someone today who was actually negotiating a contract for her law firm, and she sounded she was about 18 years old.
Stop it.
What? No, she was very knowledgeable.
She went to law school.
I know.
So she's
Okay.
not
Oh,
18.
please.
All right. So anyway, 23 or whatever.
No, she'd probably.
You know,
older.
Renee Carter was probably the youngest attorney. I've said this for 10 years. I don't know if it counts anymore. She was probably the youngest attorney in Massachusetts at one point. 'Cause
Oh,
she went
that
her-
doesn't though.
She went right after college.
She's very smart.
Very smart. Yeah.
My daughter
Yep.
is the youngest house manager at Lincoln Center in New
Wow.
York. Yes,
Wow.
they just made her a house manager.
So what does that job entail?
You run herd over everybody else who works front of the house.
Oh.
And if you've ever dealt with my daughter Cecilia,
No.
it's like dealing with my wife 10 times
okay.
more.
Just
So
shouldn't-
I can actually see
No, your
where
daughter's
Cecilia.
very nice.
When she wants to be.
What do you mean you could see that?
No, I can see that
she's the
Cecilia.
most pleasant person in the
Cecilia
world.
has taken from everything from your wife.
Yeah.
And ran with it.
Yeah.
And
I've
Gus-
never-
Yeah.
I've
and
never-
Gus has taken everything from you
me
and run with it.
Cecilia, it was her first night being the house manager alone, right?
Yeah.
And some patron came in and go, the show's called for 7:30, and it's 7:10. The doors are not open. And my daughter looks at him and goes, "Yes, we open at 7:15. Anything else I can help you with?"
Wow,
And the
that's good.
guy hightailed it out of there.
That's awesome.
Yeah, she takes nothing.
How old is she?
She's 22. She'll be
Good
23
for
in June.
her.
Wow.
Good
That's
for
pretty
her.
good.
Yep.
That's awesome.
Yeah, she's great.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well,
All right, we gotta go.
I guess we got to wrap up.
Oh,
All
well,
right,
good.
let's say
That was
3 or
a
4
good
things.
one.
That was a good one. 3 or 4
That
things
was
that
very good.
One is they promote the auction effect.
Yep.
Secondly, they probably know what disclosures and forms have to be given.
Yep.
They can take the emotional part out of it and help a seller probably with their open houses. With no seller wants to ever hear negative feedback about
Right.
their house, but
Right.
you got to take it sometimes. There.
Right.
Of course.
Uh,
And they can network. They have a network of people.
Networking. You can't. You really aren't saving on the commission after all, because every buyer in the world says, "I have an idea for you. Let's just reduce the price, and we can sell it a lot quicker."
Right.
And it just doesn't make any sense because
Right.
now you've lost that
The
commission
45,000 and you've
your
lost
representation.
the support.
Ooh, I think we've got a lot out today.
So anyway, did you guys? If nobody wants to listen to the whole podcast,
Yep.
we'll have Lindsay put it on
We're on
a
Instagram?
real estate agent. Yeah, we're on Instagram, guys. Look for us.
Oh, they're adorable.
There's our
Good.
music.
Bye
Bye.
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 Thank
See you
for
next week.
No,
joining
you have
us.
to do the official close.
I'm saying it
Thank
right
you.
now. I was just being very. Thank you for joining us here on the Real Estate House Party. We'll see you next week. Tony V, Kathy Holtshouser. This has been a wonderful podcast.
Woo.
The views and opinions expressed by the hosts, guests, or callers of this program do not necessarily reflect the opinions of the Studio 21 Podcast Café, the United Podcast Network, its partners, or affiliates.